Caller,
So here we are back at it again. And I had to look at the quest log before I started to see what we're up to. I think what we're up to is we just need to go back and talk to Therese. Vampires can regrow lost appendages. Good to know. Full on blood, don't need to talk to him. How are we doing for items? I think looks like we're all good. Although I would like to get rid of that arm, I just keep forgetting. Actually, yep, someone broken. And we can't do anything for Muddy. These are for Therese. And we don't have a lockpick, so we can't progress that. And the reason for talking to Nox was because I think you get XP, but actually I forgot to check that out. The whole humanity thing is interesting, especially when we talk to Peachy, if I remember it well. She's got an interesting take on non-humanity. We might be able to pick up some interesting points.
What were you thinking?
What were I thinking?
The museum. That was my event. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Shut up. I thought I could control my sister as long as Tongue was out of the picture. But nothing's changed. I should have expected that you'd succumb to Jeanette's influence like all the others. But how dare you?
But, I didn't do a doggone thing.
Don't lie to me. Jeanette already confessed she tricked you into doing it. It was probably all Tongue's idea. I'll deal with them later. But that's still no excuse for you ruining my museum.
I swear on a stack of blood packs I didn't do it.
Excellent. I'll take that. However, Jeanette claimed you did it for her. But let's say I believe you. After all, you've acted decently and rationally up to now. I imagine you'd still like me to call off the feud.
Yeah, decent, rational.
There's only one problem. If Tongue gets word that I threatened Jeanette, which he most certainly already has, it's not likely he'll believe me. So, in order to call off the feud, you're going to have to convince Jeanette to forgive me first. I made some threats against my sister. Idle threats, involving fire and her impious satin sheets. She took them quite seriously, and is avoiding me. I want to meet with her, and explain that they were said in the heat of the moment. I asked her to meet me at the Surfside Diner, to reconcile, but I'm busy with the club and my other endeavors. I'd like you to go to the diner and promise her that I don't plan to take any action against her. Wait for her in the back booth, near the phones. For all her unwholesome diversions and irritating disruptions, I should be less tolerant of her. She is my sister, however, and I suppose I'm obligated to forgive her her trespasses. I did sire her, after all. Please, be quick about it.
It sort of looks like she's missing the lenses to her glasses. I wonder if she is. If I can remember, I'll check that out when I get a chance. So we'll just go blazing in here blindly and hope not to die. I believe that went really well for us. That went really crazy well. Hello?
I'm terribly sorry about that. My sister was just furious about your refusal to take part in her design, so she sent those men to kill you. But I'm going to make sure it never happens again. Drop by. We'll take care of this tongue business. She's crazy! Help!
Okay, when we get the 3 dots, that's an extremely good sign. They have these bullet holes in the wall, and like that bullet hole, that's like a 20 millimeter cannon or something. That's not a bullet hole from any gun that was fired in here. Shocking and melee skill determines how much damage you can do with a melee weapon. The Sabbat are nasty dudes. So we get to test out my little experiment here. Let's see how it goes. The plan is I want to reconcile the sisters, and we'll see if I manage to do that.
As soon as I've solved this problem, we call Jeanette. I'll happily send you on your way to Tongue. Don't listen to her. She'll kill us both. Save me and I'll help you find Bertram. I swear. Shut up, Jeanette! I warned you to stay away from Tongue. He's turned you against me. I always looked out for you, but you couldn't stand my success. You had to meddle, didn't you? I didn't want it to end like this, but you forced me. You never gave me any credit for anything, Therese.
I'm a little nervous.
I was the one calling the shots. Bertram was dancing on my leash. How does it feel to know that I beat you? Isn't it obvious?
Just need to
I'm about
pick
to
the
rid
right
the night
numbers
of this
now.
Deviant, backstabbing whore. Do you realize that despite her condition, she still fornicates with kind, no less? So despicable. So unclean. You're one to talk, dear sister. Or should I say daddy's little girl? Do you want to know just how depraved the Baron of Santa Monica can be? Shut up, Jeanette. You'd love the world to think you're a saint. When you thought I was asleep, I used to hear Father come in at night. I heard him whisper how much he loved you in your ear before he... Don't finish that sentence, or you're dead. Don't you want to hear what happened? How she became the pillar of the community she is today? Shut up. Just shut up! Don't try and stop me. I've had to overlook her treachery, her seduction, relations with my enemies, and the consequences of it. But I won't endure her any longer. Endure me? Dear sister, you've done everything you could to smother me. You love to bury me in your closet, along with all your other skeletons. I'm the good girl. You're the wicked one. You've done nothing but plot against me, when I had our best interests at heart. And despite that, I've always covered up your mistakes. I've taken care of you. And this is how you repay me? Taken care of me. You've done nothing but keep me down. Blame me for every mistake. Did you expect me to let you rule my life until the end of time? No, sister. You've had it coming since our last sunrise. Is that right, dear? If it wasn't for me, you would have never survived this long. Remember? They tried to separate us, but I refused. I chose this life, and brought you into it so that we could stay together. Obviously, you've forgotten. She's a control freak. People, things, emotions. If she can't control something, she gets rid of it. And you're a wild animal. You'll rub up against anything that'll take you in for the night. Then when you're stuffed and bored, you bite the hand that fed you. I don't think that's possible. How could I ever think to trust her again? Trust me? Who could trust you after what happened with Father Dearest? Father loved me. I was a good girl. I always did what I was told. You always hated that he loved me. You disobeyed him. You brought men home when he wasn't there. You were an awful daughter to him. Father came home drunk one day and mistook me for Therese. because I'd fallen asleep in her bed. Don't listen to her. She's lying. Therese walked in while he was there, and she saw me lying with him, and so she went to the closet and pulled out his hunting shotgun, loaded it with deer shot, and blew his mind out all over the silly clown wallpaper. That's a lie. Father killed himself because of Jeanette. She made him miserable. As I recall, he died with a smile on his face. Why? How will this time be any different? What? Her body was cold before she died. What an awful thought. Do you know the things she does with her body? How vile! Therese doesn't like to share. Jeanette's irresponsible. She's undependable. A venture like mine requires class and distinction, which is something a pigtailed, face-painting harlot does not lend very well. You do have a way with words, sister. You're right. I'm not in the same class, am I? I mean, murderers are so respectful these days. More responsibility. So that she can ruin every opportunity I give her? Of course. You're the only one who can secure zoning permits and shake hands. I'd never be able to keep up. But I only do it for attention and out of love. You do it because you're vindictive and jealous, and you deserve it. If she would stop treating me like a child, if she would start behaving like a rational adult. Yes, there was a time. When I was a child, I didn't have many friends. I suppose Jeanette was the only one. We never did get to go out of the house much. Father wouldn't allow us. He said we'd get hurt, so we stayed inside and we imagined our own worlds. And we spent so much time there together, ruling over those places. Those were happier times, before we grew apart. I never did. No, I guess I don't. Jeanette, if I were to offer you equal control in Santa Monica, would you quit consorting with Tongue? I'll stop working against you with him. But since I've got him in my pocket already, there's no reason for me not to pay him a little visit once in a while, when he can be of use. That's not a bad plan. There's just one more thing. I want to be in charge of Santa Monica, but only publicly. I want you to continue to convince others that our relations are strained. That way, we know who our enemies are. I agree. Take it. I'd hate to look at it again and think of what almost transpired. I suppose now that Jeanette and I have settled our differences, I'll call off the feud with Tongue. Bertram's hiding in an empty oil tank at the old gas station. I'll tell him to expect a visitor, and I'll ask him to be extra nice. Please give Santa Monica's regards to the prince, and keep your tongue tied about what happened tonight, or we'll have to kill you.
So that was pretty interesting. The reason that I rejected doing the gallery mission for Jeanette was because a lot of people think that you have to do that mission or you can't reconcile them, and I just wanted to show that that's not strictly true. And the interesting part there was I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again, because I do believe some of that was I've never seen before, and I have no idea why. So that's really interesting part of this game. You just play it and do things, and different things outcomes happen, and you never know why.
The one and only. But don't bother with the introductions, fledgling. I know who you are. News travels down the kindred grapevine like wildfire. And that courtroom spat between LaCroix and Nines Rodriguez is a juicy little morsel. And you in the middle. How interesting. Oh, you did you? Well, I wasn't worried. So why did you need to find me? What did you need? Oh, never mind. The warehouse, though. I've been watching the place. The Sabbat has a bunch of low-life humans working day and night to move stuff through there. There's some major staging going on. Yes, I can. Just tell me when you're ready, and we'll leave. Once you're there, however, you're on your own. You'll have to get into the place and plant the explosives in the middle office to take the whole structure down.
So we've made our way to the warehouse successfully, and our goal is to plant the astrolite without killing anyone if possible. And I think that's really important for us because I don't think we're set up to do much fighting here. We could probably muddle through it. It might be really ugly, but if we can manage it, I'd rather do this quietly. Plus, I want the XP. That panel there makes a ton of noise and somehow they never hear it.
Yo, what the fuck is going on here tonight? Fox is all in everyone's face and shit.
Didn't you hear? A new shipment came in. Some pretty serious hardware.
Yeah, I heard. But what the fuck? We get that kind of shit in here all the time. What's so different about tonight?
I don't know. Marcus is tense as a motherfucker. Maybe he heard something.
Like what?
Like, I don't know, but keep your fucking eyes open. And someone better tell those clowns in the freight house to quit playing cards before Marcus comes out and starts peeling fucking caps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
We're going to try to trance this person, but if you don't have trance, you can run down the backside there and parkour up those boxes. Well, we'll try that, since he hasn't moved for us.
Where you going, man? Who's there?
Nobody, dang it. Don't bother me. I'm busy. And even though we can plant the explosives and get the XP, we still aren't out of the woods. I don't want anybody to interrupt this. But I need another person. Well, shoot. Well, come over here if you're interested. Yeah, come around the corner here. I don't want to go over there. You come here. If you'd like, that would be wonderful. Well, you didn't have anything I wanted anyway. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, but this wolf here is the same one we saw at the Santa Monica Pier that was up on the hill. Yes, and I'm proud of it.
Hopefully no Sabbat saw you escape. They can be somewhat antagonistic.
I'm pretty sure they did. We know he's not a werewolf.
I see my reputation, for once, does not precede me. My name is Beckett. I haven't been following you per se. We've just coincidentally been at the same places at the same time, for different reasons. So sorry if I unnerved you. Tell me, have you by chance seen or felt anything strange since your embrace? A ghost? Quite ordinary. I generally pay wraiths no mind. All but a few are willing to give up their secrets. Thin bloods. They're a fascination of mine. They are considered a weaker, more human-like kindred, hence the name, Thin Blood. But they are sired same as any of us. I've heard a large concentration of them live in this city. They're one of the reasons I'm in Los Angeles. Most of my contacts here report sensing something unusual in the night air, like a sense of dread or pressure. But I'm not a native to these parts, so I can't tell if it's irregular. And since you're still fresh, perhaps you're not attuned to it. Pleasure meeting your acquaintance, but there are rumblings for me to discredit. We shall, I'm certain, meet again. Or never again. Good night, young one. And be careful. You're very likely being hunted by the Sabbat.
Night, Beckett. An interesting thing about Beckett is all the textures on his glasses are inside out. If you stand at funny angles, you can tell, but since they're mostly closed, it's not
Nice work, fledgling. I felt that explosion
particularly
a mile away.
visible.
It's all over the news.
Unless you
too.
already know it's
Man,
there.
there's gonna be some pissed off Sabbat just howling for blood tonight.
I don't know if we need to talk to Bertram or not.
Beckett? Well, I know of him. Why?
I don't
kidding.
think we do.
Must be something major happening if he's in town. Beckett is a historian of sorts. He's unearthed more vampire lore than anyone. Well, that's all Beckett does. Seek the truth behind our condition. What do you need? I know you did. Sharp kid. Can track like a bloodhound. I watched him work for a while before I approached him. I had no idea how eager he would be to help. I knew you would. I had him watching you-know-who for me. It was inevitable you'd pass through her joint. I told him to keep an eye out for you, gave him lines to feed you, the whole bit. Oh, shit. Ah, damn Ventrue blood. Gotta be on top of everything, don't you?
Sure.
Thanks, I guess. You better get back downtown. Prince LaCroix is gonna want to hear all about this victory.
Guess that's it. We're headed for downtown. I guess we'll make a stop at the apartment. I don't believe there's an email or anything we need there, but...
It's not my problem.
Well, okay. Thanks for the information. I don't know what problem you're talking about.
In both cases, the bodies of the victims were described as torn apart, though details are being withheld from the public at this time. Police urge anyone with information relating to this case to contact them. In other news, an apparent third victim of the Southland slasher has prompted the closing of the Santa Monica Pier, where the body was found earlier tonight. Investigators say the scene closely mirrors those of slayings in Glendale and Long Beach.
I can remember to get rid of this thing.
Were described as torn apart, though details are being withheld from the public at this time. Police urge anyone with information relating to this case to contact them. Actor Ash Rivers is lucky to be alive after his car crashed into the gate at Parasite Studios earlier tonight. Witnesses say
There was an email, but it wasn't anything important. Well, it didn't seem like anything. It's from an unknown person.
Thanks for coming back. What you need? Alright, here's what we got today.
I need to keep the tire iron because we have something special planned for the tire iron. I left the tire iron in the red car when we were searching for Lily for that purpose, and in case I didn't find one or I didn't pick one up in combat. And we could sell this one and go get that one, but
Where to?
I just don't want to bother with it. Downtown. Our loading tip tells us to use the cab after we've already used the cab. That's pretty funny. The way that guy swings that baseball is a good way to swing a golf club.
Leave it out for the sunrise.
We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Think you could blow up our warehouse and get away with it? Ah, lick.
Let's pull out its eyes and its tongue and its teeth. I want its teeth.
Camarilla fuck. Boys, I think we could all use a little entertainment. Those of you sitting in the first few rows will get wet. Son of a bitch!
Leave.
There's 3 of us, Rodriguez.
Yeah. 3 of us.
What are you gonna do? Shoot us? This ain't over. We'll find you. You too, Rodriguez. You're both dead. Nobody messes with the Sabbat and lives.
Keep moving. Trouble sure seems to like you. Good effort. Execution needs a little work. You look like shit. Name's Nines. Should have been more careful, newbie. This ain't the burbs. Kid, I got things to deal with. Why don't you pay me a visit at the last round tonight? I don't know what you've heard so far, but it's time you heard the real story. This is a mean existence. Stay out of trouble, kid.
And there, in that cutscene, had a sort of a corona around it, an aura or something. I've never noticed that before. Here we are.
Help me! Help me! It's got them. It's coming for me now. It's coming for me. My crew. We were here shooting for my show. I'm a parapsychologist. Haunted LA. Oh God, it was right behind me. We've got to get out of here. Look, I'll level with you. We usually fake these things, you know, ghosts. That's all bullshit. We were setting up downstairs, and weird shit started happening. My crew, they all started disappearing. I don't know what's happening. No, don't go down there. We've got to get out. It's coming. It's coming.
I probably should not have come in here. Funky doors. See-through doors. It's a normal thing for this game. Forgot to take my own advice and get into first person there. I don't know why this is Elysium. Maybe it changes. In the original game, you can punch that person through the door. So I always do. And then another habit. I just trigger that so I can come through the normal door rather than crawl under.
Real terror is not the sight of death. It is the fear of death. What is the fear of death? Terror of the unknown. Is it these eyes you peer into? No. I am not the unknown. You and I are closer kin than you and it were. Drinking blood to sustain your death, you are damned, yes? What if, besides the blood of the living, you had to eat pounds of their flesh to maintain that thin facade of life? What would you call it? Twice damned? We drink blood. I eat flesh. Kine eat food. But Kine think us a monster. Without remorse, they would burn our body twice over to be certain we were destroyed. What is unnatural for some is vital for others. My birth name I tell no one. You may address me as Pisha. Pisha was the name of my companion and lover in a time before my death, 230 years ago. She has no need of it anymore. My stay in this city is transitory. I seek relics of the occult traced here and would trade similar artifacts to acquire them. But if you wish to bargain with me, the Kine upstairs must be sent down here. He has seen too much. Eventually. Tell him this was all a ruse. His friends playing a joke. He will come. He must come down here. If he leaves, the frail disguise we wear for mortals will be seen through.
I'm a big fan of Pisha. Just wish she would wash her face. That card there's the only reason I upped my inspection. I don't know. There's been some discussion about that card. I think 5 is too high for that card. But I was overruled. Directional movement, keys, and attacking. We're just working our way down to C9s and Jack. I bet this Primogen thing is also hard-coded. This mailbox is the same one from Santa Monica. They just recycled it. Even the number on it, 508, is from Santa Monica. Pretty funny. Pretty funny to me anyway. And we just come around here because I want to get this book.
Greetings, neonate. Might I assume you received my invitation? I have been looking forward to meeting you for quite some time.
Really? That's hard to believe because it seems like I'm only a week old or less.
Strauss. Maximilian Strauss. I am the regent of this chantry. Welcome.
I'm just going to jump straight into it.
Young one. Your survival in kindred society will often depend on your ability to find out yourself what is going on around you. Remember that well.
So, that advice, I think, is like a really key piece of advice for playing this game, in that it's super important to pay attention to what's going on around you. And this is horrible, but I sort of love it.
As for what is going on here in downtown, the word on everyone's lips, kindred or kind, seems to be epidemic. It seems that disease has been spreading at an alarming rate throughout the downtown population. Considering our particular appetites, the local kindred are more than concerned about these developments. Yes, indeed. My opinion is that the local anarchs are responsible for these outbreaks. Their precipitous indulgence of certain passions often leads to such things. Ergo, their need for the watchful eye of the Camarilla. An interesting proposition. If you succeed in finding the cause of this epidemic and putting an end to it, I will compensate you appropriately for your efforts. Very well. Again, I recommend speaking with the anarchs. You can find most of them at the local watering hole, reveling in the vices of their former lives. I believe the place is called The Last Round.
And their left-right pattern is something we'll see repeated over and over again. Well, I think so. What I should have done was, you have to look up to see the clue from his riddle. That's the magical sun up there. But it's kind of pretty far up. Maybe that's another important thing they're trying to get into our heads. Is to look up. There's some pretty funny stuff on the billboards. A lot of it is covered on the radio.
Sabbat chased you in here, Cammy? Heard Nine saved your ass again. You think LaCroix would have stopped counting his money long enough to get your back, Jack? Huh. What were you gonna break out, huh? Some Tybo? This ain't paintball with your jerk-off friends on the weekend, Cammy. It's the mean streets. Show some goddamn gratitude. Oh, you want to know what my problem is? All right, I'll tell you what my problem is. You ready? You are my goddamn problem. Anyone who would lay it down for some cape in an ivory tower deserves what they get. You want an alternative? Being here. That's a step in the right direction. I'm Damsel, den mother of these mothers, and one pissed bitch since LaCroix ruled in. That goddamn blood witch told you what? He thinks we're responsible for that plague bearer? If I hadn't promised Nines I'd keep my nose clean, I'd go over right now and rip him a new wizard shoot. Magic missile casting motherfucker! A plague bearer's a fool that doesn't care who they feed from. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We can't get sick, but the kind can. And kindred that feed on them start spreading disease. Enough gets sick, it's an epidemic. CDC's in town as we speak. Seen Old Yeller? May sound cruel, but it's necessary. If someone puts together 2 and 2 as to the real cause of an outbreak of bloodborne diseases, guess what happens? So the plague bearers gotta be found and put down. If the Camarilla really gives a damn, they'll help us out. One of our boys' ghouls, Name's Paul. Lives nearby in the Skyline Apartments. Been a stranger lately. Looked like death last time he was here. Said he didn't get bit, but maybe you can get more info out of him. Wait, if Paul's not talking, you might want to start questioning the homeless pop. So many have been dying lately that it takes the city a few days to pick up the bodies.
Well, if it ain't the talk of the town, poster child for Camarilla benevolence. What errand does the prince have you running today, boy? Nines is expecting. Have some manners and don't wear out your welcome. I'm skeleton. Act up again, and I'll be the one showing your ashes to the door. So then go on up and see it. You're free to do as you please here.
You showed up. Good. Here's what I gotta tell you. And so you know, I don't lecture, I don't rap, I'm no bureaucrat. I'm just a guy out of nowhere came to be involved in something 500 times bigger than you and me.
Before we continue, we need that. Go on.
You got a right to know the score. The Camarilla, this is the short of it. They operate a lot like a pyramid scheme. There's a bunch of these old-timers at the top with God only knows what plots in mind. They lose their power, they die. They sired more to carry out their plans, and looking for a little power, then those kindred sired for their own schemes, and so on and on and on. It hurts my head just thinking about the mess. And it works out to is this. Only a few people at the top have any real power. Them's fighting words, newbie. But you're young and stupid, so I won't make an example out of you. See, the Camarilla claims all of us are members, even if we don't want to be, which is, of course, the biggest load of horseshit a man ever heard. I learned the way of this world during the Depression. Bunch of old rich bastards screwed the country. But did they suffer? No. The little people suffered. You can't trust the people at the top. The world would be a better place without them. All you can do is get a group of people together who aren't assholes. Find a place to put your feet up and make some examples of the quote-unquote elite to keep the rest the hell out. Everyone's an equal here. The same thing this country used to be about. That's what LA has been. An anarch-free state. The Camarilla was kicked out on their ass a long time ago. We, the anarchs, didn't want to play their politics anymore. Now LaCroix and crew pop in like they never left? No goddamn way. Their laws don't apply to us. I got their meeting right here. LaCroix represents everything I hate. The Camarilla, stuck-up aristocrats, rich businessmen, crooked politicians. The only place LaCroix belongs is in an urn. No such thing. And again, newbie, don't throw those kind of words around lightly. You're risking a beatdown. I fought to keep LA free since I was embraced. A long time later, I'm one of the only ones left that hasn't bidded or switched sides. The most veteran soldier on the battlefield. Here's what I tell all the new blood. 1, you get careless, that blood will make you into a monster. But you rampage around here, you get put down. 2, don't kill when you feed. No reason to. In this city, there's lots of ways to slake the beast without leaving a trail of dead. 3, the Camarilla's full of shit. 4, watch your back, always. And lastly, learn how to fight. Because a speech ain't gonna save your ass when you're staring down the barrel of a shotgun. After picking your ass up off the pavement back there, yeah, I can tell you don't even know the basics. Hold your hands up like this, and keep your body at an angle. Makes you harder to hit. Keep your thumbs out of your fists and put your weight into your punches. LA's the school of hard knocks, so keep your friends close and your enemies in a barbecue pit. Once you square things with LaCroix, don't give that son of a bitch the time of night. I got my eye on you, kid.
So I have more things to do in here, but I believe I'm going to leave it off for here and we'll pick it up next time. So thank you for watching.